Hello, my name's Chris Hopkinson, and I am a Campus Alberta Research Chair in Remote Sensing, and in my lab we use 3D laser imaging technology to monitor the health of and impacts on Earth's ecosystems. The acronym ARTeMiS describes the suite of technology that we use: Advanced Resolution Pterodynamic Imaging Systems. Most of you will know Artemis as the Greek goddess of wilderness, purity and fertility. And as you can see, she's usually depicted as carrying a bow and arrow while roaming mountains and forests. Given the purpose of my lab then, you can see why I like the symbology of Artemis the goddess. I've been working with laser scanners for 20 years, but the Artemis lab came into being in 2014 when we built our first high-resolution pterodynamic imaging system. Here, each of the laser eyes scans from each side of the vehicle to produce an immersive 3D model of a forest environment. Our second generation ARTeMIS system came in 2016 when we borrowed, then subsequently purchased, an Airborne multispectral laser scanner. This sensor allows us to simultaneously classify and measure 3D terrestrial and aquatic features. Here, the laser-based color shading represents different wetland, forest and permafrost conditions. Now we are planning the next generation ARTeMIS system that integrates 3 laser channels, 4 cameras and an 8-band thermal imager. By fusing these sensors, we'll have a powerful system for monitoring ecosystem change and health. Hence we call this an Airborne Ecosystem Diagnostic Imaging System. With ARTeMIS version 3, we will be able to address many new research questions. The first will be to devise sensor fusion frameworks to produce new and consistent data products. As seen in this multispectral laser vegetation index map, results vary with altitude and therefore need calibration. And one way we can do this is to set up reflectance targets above the ground and then fly the lasers overhead. This allows us to normalize each sensor's imagery to known values to produce consistent data products that allow us to extract new information about the landscape. One of the big Earth sciences questions today is how is climate change impacting remote landscapes in the north? We have low-resolution satellite imagery showing patterns of greening and browning, but we need high-resolution data to identify features and extents so we can understand processes and rates of change. A benefit of 3D laser imaging is that repeat data produce 4D images of terrain feature and vegetation canopy changes that are intuitively easy to interpret. Here we see a decade of glacier shrinkage and 1 year of changing leaf cover. Even a single multispectral laser image is multidimensional, as in addition to 3D terrain and vegetation, we can colorize the scene with laser reflectance to identify major land features. By adding the thermal and optical channels of ARTeMIS 3, we will be able to further discern areas undergoing ecosystem stress or that may be at risk of disturbance. Another goal for ARTeMIS 3 is to better understand natural disasters like wildfires and floods. In both scenarios, there are needs for risk and damage assessment pre- and post-disaster. In the case of wildfire, for example, we are helping to develop new fuel classifications to support fire-smart programs. Airborne multispectral lasers are advancing flood risk assessment through simultaneous mapping of terrain and riverbed, as well as enhanced floodplain feature identification. Multispectral laser data has also demonstrated unprecedented mapping of wildfire peatland loss beneath forest canopy, as seen in red in the image to the right. Building on our classification research, we started a dialogue with Indigenous communities to explore new ways of mapping land and cultural values. As might be evident from the data collected over sites of interest in the Date Show in Northwest Territories this summer, this is a high-risk blending of physical and social science research. Aside from the science, the ARTeMIS lab is active in capacity building. Whether to train future leaders or develop environmental monitoring frameworks, or promote community-level stewardship, the Eyes of ARTeMIS is a metaphor both for the advanced laser sensors we use and also the values of ecosystem protection that we espouse. So as we draw this short presentation to a close, I would like to thank you for your attention. And I'd also like to thank all the partners that have supported our work over the years. But of course the greatest thanks go to the members of the ARTeMIS lab and their efforts to see the world through the eyes of ARTeMIS.